What's up, guys? It is again Cosmo the Coder, and welcome to another Humble Weekly Bundle review video. This week's going to be a little bit of an interesting kind of bundle because the actual bundle includes games that sort of covers a wide variety of genres. It's called the actual Iceberg Interactive 2 bundle, so immediately that name doesn't scream sort of huge games or widely known games, but it definitely is something that might be quite interesting to some people. So without further ado, straight in, we are going into the first dollar, into the $1 or more tier, and our first game is Tiny Troopers. Now, this game looks a lot like, what's it called? Cannon Fodder. It's a lot like a sort of more modern version of Cannon Fodder, if you've actually ever played Cannon Fodder, where you take control of a small squad of soldiers and basically try and complete missions by killing enemies, blowing stuff up, that kind of jazz. You know, it's a game that's been done before in different ways. It's not really that well received on Steam, unfortunately. It's got fairly average reviews. The price on Steam for us at the moment is £3.99. Sorry, £3.99. I always should remind you that everything I look at is at the moment on Steam, because obviously these are Steam keys. If it would be the same if it was Origin, and of course being in the UK, I'm going to be talking about pounds here, so you might get a bit lost in the translation, but I'll basically say if it's a good deal or not. Right, so Tiny Troopers, an average sort of game. It might interest you, might not. Might be worth having a look, just if you're interested in anything like that. Just apparently it used to be a mobile game, but I'd never heard of it until now. So that's just me. Moving on into Darkness Within. Now, Darkness Within is a horror point-and-click adventure game with some puzzles. Or with puzzles. You know what I mean. You should pretty much understand the genre if you know what that is. It's fairly good. It's got some quite good reviews. It's priced around the £5.99 mark. So it's definitely worth a good look at. If you're into anything like that kind of genre, if you enjoy the horror kind of games, then by all means check it out. The plot is generally one that you might recognize. You would play a detective who's investigating a murder, which the guy that's murdered is actually involved in the occult. So it's a whole sort of going down that sort of pathway thing. So by all means, have a look at that and see what you think. Now, Armada 2526 is a turn-based space strategy game. This one has some quite mixed reviews. Some people like it, some people don't. It's not really my forte, to be honest with you. It's a turn-based game. I'm not really into that kind of stuff, but it might be your kind of thing, you know. And for $1, if you're interested in any of the other games, it's just gonna, be something that you generally sort of don't necessarily worry too much about. Gas Guzzlers Extreme is a combat racing game that has quite good reviews, actually. A lot of people quite like it. It's actually quite expensive at the moment on Steam. At least it is from where I was sitting. I think if I go and double check quickly, because I couldn't actually believe the price. It's £18.99 on Steam for me. £18.99, which is quite impressive considering that you pay $1 to get it. So definitely cost-wise, it's worth a good try. But overall, for me, it doesn't appeal to me. I'm not into racing games, even combat racing games. Even if it means strapping on guns and taking your opponents out, it's not that big a deal for me. So sadly, not really a big thing for me in that terms of that. Nuclear Dawn is quite an old game, actually. It made in 2011, or released in 2011, I should say. Because as we know, it takes a while to make these kind of things. It's a hybrid between a first-person shooter game and a real-time strategy game, where you basically play a soldier. You can walk around in the base and the areas and shoot guns and everything. But then you can also switch the view and make it into a thing where you basically take control of the base, take control of units, so on and so forth. It's quite an interesting looking game. It's still quite well received. It's priced at £6.99. So overall, the $1 tier is definitely worth a good go if any of those games even slightly interest you. For $1, what you got to lose? $1, basically. Okay. Now, straight in with the green tier is a game called Inside My Radio, which is a 2D platformer game, which kind of looks a lot like if Super Meat Boy went sort of very Neon-esque, but with less death. So it involves using actions to do music. You need to basically follow a general sort of pattern, basically this sort of thing. It's a platformer. Let's put it as simple as it is. It's got good reviews on Steam. It's $10.99, and for the current sort of average, which is at about $4, it's worth a go. Definitely worth a go. Just to add to your collection, and if you're into that kind of thing, why not play it? Darkness Within 2 is a direct sequel to Darkness Within 1. Duh. You play the same character, and you sort of go into a more... You basically carry on the story from the first game to a certain degree, because you basically it goes further into the backstory of the character and everything else. Again, well received. It's pretty much exactly the same as the first one in terms of its what it's how it works and what it's about. So definitely worth a look at and that kind of thing, if you enjoy that kind of thing. Vector Thrust is it says a fast-paced action flight simulator. It's not really something I would be interested in at all, to be honest with you. The general sort of feeling on Steam is that it's good, but it's kind of got quite an unfinished kind of feel. So it's not necessarily something that you would sort of jump into and say, yes, I want to play that straight away. And to me, straight away, it's sort of saying, well, is it trying to be Afterburner? Is it trying to be something else? It's actually quite expensive on Steam. It's $18.99. So I think it's another one of those games you might sort of end up just having in your collection if you buy this actual bundle and not necessarily play. Now, the actual DLCs for Gas Guzzlers... Oops, that's not actually working. There we go. So you basically get 2 DLCs, which is the Metal Frenzy and Full Metal Zombie. The Metal Frenzy just gives you some new cars and new bits and pieces. The Metal Zombie one basically adds zombies to the game, so you basically involves missions taking out zombies and so on and so forth. Now they're priced respectively at $3.99 and $4.99. So again, if combat car games are your interest, then you'll definitely want the DLCs as well. Finally, moving into the blue tier is called Starpoint Gemini 2. And it actually said this wrong the first time around. It's a fairly well received game, actually. It's an open world space simulator. It's priced currently at $26.99 on Steam. So for $9, you're getting an extremely sweet deal in this case. It's the general sort of feeling is that it's extremely well made. The whole game basically allows you to be a captain of a starship and do pretty much anything you want within a certain, within the sort of realm of the game world. General consensus is it's a good game. So if that kind of thing appeals to you, graphics look good, it's definitely worth a punt. Now, as you probably can tell, I don't actually own any of the games and I haven't actually played any of them. And in general, from my personal point of view, there's nothing really here that stand out to me. So my personal feelings is that I'm probably not going to part with my cash on this one. Especially after I spent it on this week's Humble Bundle, and I'm trying to sort of save up to possibly get Far Cry Primal when it comes out on PC on Tuesday. Damn you consoles. So yeah, that's basically my feelings on this. As always, of course, make your own decisions, see how you feel. If you have $9 and just want to get a load of games that you may or may not play, that's fine by me. As always, however you feel about this, unfortunately, when it's this kind of bundle and I don't own any of the games and haven't played any of the games, I can't really give you much more than my general sort of feeling and thought on both the trailer and the review section in Steam. But if that's what kind of thing you're after, that's what you got. Okay. So as always, thank you guys for watching. By all means, like, dislike, subscribe, comment on this video, and let me know what you think about this bundle, if you enjoyed it, if you don't enjoy it. And I will see you hopefully next week for another weekly bundle, if they do it. And also for the next Humble monthly bundle, which I think comes out on Friday, but the video won't come out till Saturday because of timing. Once again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.